Who's first? Ladies. Who's first? Ladies. Who's first? Ladies. What time is it? It's time for the ladies. 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 It's the ladies first Chit-Chat crew. It's time for the ladies. 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 It's the ladies first Chit-Chat crew. L-A-D-I-E-S, I-E-S, I-E-S, L-A-D-I-E-S, and we're up first. L-A-D-I-E-S, I-E-S, I-E-S, L-A-D-I-E-S, and we're up first. I didn't even come in smooth like that.
Come on now.
I was like, what's up, ladies first? Oh, they can't hear me.
All muted.
What's up, beautifuls?
Hey.
I like
Green.
you're wearing green, the color of money.
Ooh, say that.
The color of money.
Yes. We like money. We like money. Hi, ladies. How are you today?
I'm good. I love this glow, honey. This sun kiss on you, Nikki.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Why are you so sun-kissed?
He was in LA.
Do you really want to know?
Yes.
I want to know.
No, we don't.
I think last week, you guys know I did the show from LA. I was out in LA. Two of my clients have qualified for the Olympics. They are fencers. And one of my clients, his name is Daryl Homer. Shout out to Daryl Homer, 3-time Olympian. He won the silver medal in Rio. And it's just a good dude. I have this post that I'm going to post about us on my Instagram today, but we got out there and we put in the work. I mean, 2-a-days for 8 days straight on the beach. You know, just his work ethic is contagious. And I really got to bring out what I do. You know what I'm saying?
That felt good.
Yeah, I really got to bring out what I do and dust off some of my old athlete stuff. And then this morning, after I taught my class, I trained my other Olympian over by the East River. So
Very nice.
it was good. And it was just really nice to open up the blinds and the beach being right there. It was so nice to the beach.
Yeah, I'm sure.
And even though I'm still working on the East Coast, I just had a different energy, a different vibe, a different. I don't know. I started looking at houses. I was like, "This is why people move to California."
All day.
I'm down in
But the sunshine feels different over there.
It was so different, and just the way I eased into my day. Even though I was up at 4:00 in the morning because the East Coast, it was just different. And the other blessing is both of my godchildren are out there. My goddaughter turned 15, so I got to spend a little time with her.
Wow.
And so I got to meet my godson for the first time. He turned 4 months the other day. So it was just, I got to see my god sister, and I'm going back. And
your bestie.
Yes, I got to see my bestie. I got to see Miss Melanie Sharenzo Cherry and one of my many thought partners, and we really got it in. So it was good.
Good. How was traveling? This is your first time you travel, right?
It was great. I flew Delta. I didn't have anybody in between me. It was me in the middle. I didn't have anyone between me. They were so nice. I didn't know that they were going to allow you to eat and drink on the flight. You have to keep your mask on and take it down and eat. But it was great. When you get on, they give you sanitizer. It was fine. It wasn't overcrowded. I felt very comfortable. You hear that, Mom? I felt very comfortable traveling.
They start selling that middle seat today, I think. So good
They
thing.
do?
Mm-hmm. I think it's today.
It's great without the middle seat.
What middle seat? Oh, the middle seat. They start selling the middle seat. Okay.
Yeah, Delta was the last airline that kept the middle seat open, but as of today, I heard
they start selling it. Okay,
they're gonna start selling it.
well,
That's good. You look like you've been somewhere that we haven't been.
I got a little tan, and then I came home, and my man had wine for me and fruit and little.
Yes.
So that was great. The house was kind of clean in the living room, so I was happy about that.
Yes.
Come on, Billy. Come through, Billy.
Yes, but thank you for asking me about my trip. Shout out, follow Daryl Homer. He's a true Black man, minority, and a fencing sport. And he's about, we about to do this thing. So so I'm excited. How you doing, Crystal JG? Your hair's cute, honey.
I woke up like this. Not. She had to get it together. But I feel great. I feel like I say the same thing every week, but when the sun is shining, you can't help but just smile. It's good. Good week, busy week. Lots of things going on, work and personally. My son's playing basketball again, so we're juggling who takes him to games, who takes him to practice, that kind of thing. Been really on my Wonder Woman by, being committed to my exercise routine every day. And, that just, it's feeling more normalized now. You know what I mean? Trying to, I'm not really there yet, but trying to go to sleep or, at a certain time, waking up a certain time, your body starts to feel better, so I feel good.
Yay. I love this. It's cute.
Listen, you got to do a bun and some curls sometime. A bun and a bang, honey.
Edmee, you look beautiful. Look at you. I like this. Is this a dress?
Yes, it is. It's one little green dress. They got a little black dress. I have my little green dress today. I didn't get the memo about having flowers behind, ladies. Nikki got flowers. Crystal got flowers. I know, Michelle, they left us out. Kevin, where are my flowers?
You're glowing, Edmee.
Let me tell you something. I don't even know. This week was like, and my daughter had an SAT. So I had to combine SAT stress with work stress, with sleep deprivation, getting up every day this week at like 5 o'clock to be early at work and get home and go to the second job, which is being a mom. I'm tired. And last night I went out and I don't know how many margaritas I had.
I love it.
Some shots that was served at the end. I don't know what it was. It was cute. It was like turquoise and lime green color shots. I was like, sure, let's just go for it. So I have a migraine.
Really, honey, you look good. You look good.
You sure do.
This morning, I got up and I was like, there's no way I can get on camera. I'll, hangover, puffy face. I was like, let me go work out for an hour. So I got my workout on and I'm here.
Yeah.
Hey, look, did you drink the margaritas by yourself?
No, I had friends with me. We share the food, but I don't share my margaritas. I'm sorry. Don't touch my liquor. Just don't even come close to it.
By the way, Edmee said, don't touch my liquor. Don't touch my liquor.
But the way she describes things, I feel like I want to go. I was like, I didn't do anything like that last night. I wish I was there.
I'm going to give a little shout out to that spot. It's called Santiago. It's on the East Harlem. And it's like a little speakeasy Spanish food spot. It's really cute. They have like an indoor, outdoor, cheap margaritas. So you don't even realize it. You're like, we were with some friends, and my friend was like, if you see the margarita get that close to the end, just reorder, just refill. So it's like you don't really see your margarita finish. You just see a full glass the whole time. And that's really dangerous.
That is very dangerous.
And that's pretty much what was happening. So that's what I was like, I don't know if I had 2 or 6 because it was never empty.
Yeah. Careful.
Please call me next time. I really want to have that kind of evening.
We gotta go. And the food was so good. We gotta go check it out. It's called Santiago, East Harlem. Check it out, guys. Really good. And they had salsa music playing, so you know how to get up and dance.
Of course.
Yay, Edmee. Lachelle, LL Cool Shells. I don't know why I love that.
I know. I should have never told her that. I'm good. I'm very good. Again, like Crystal, sunshine does it for me. So I'm enjoying that. There's just a lot going on. My youngest son is coming home from school. He just completed his first year of college. So I have to go and get him this week. So he's coming home. And I know y'all know Murdy has been staying with me because there are things that are not going well in her apartment. So we have to get those things repaired. So I gave her my bedroom as a good daughter would. So while my sons were gone, I moved into their room. But now the youngest will be back this week. And the oldest will be graduating from college 2 weeks from now, 3 weeks from now. And he'll be back. So I have to move. Like, that's what I'm doing after the show is like, I got to move out of their room. Where I'm going, I don't know, but I'll figure it out. The sun is shining.
Couch.
Exactly. Back to the couch. I have a very phenomenal air mattress, which I actually love. So I'll be sleeping.
Why is it phenomenal, Lachelle?
First of all, honey, it rises to the height of a regular bed. That's the first thing. It rises to the height of a regular bed. And then it has these ridges in the top. So when you roll on it, it's like you're getting a body massage. Oh, honey, I love it. So I'll be back in the living room with boxes and whatever, but it's all good. It's all my family under one roof. And I love that. So I'm happy. I'm doing well.
Someone said congratulations. Yes. I always, when parents say that, their children are graduating, it's your day too. I remember, for someone that doesn't have kids yet, I remember when I graduated from high school, but really when I graduated from college, I really felt like it was my mama's day too. I think I might have put her a card. I felt like her day too.
It is. Yeah, it's my day. It's my bank account's day. My bank account is like, yes, honey. We don't have an automatic monthly deduction for the first time in 18 years. Girl, let's celebrate. Yes, it is my day too.
We're gonna celebrate. I want to shout out our Chondra and our Nikki Unbossed. We love you guys. We miss you. We'll see you next week. We will see you next week. We have, just to let the viewers know, we have meetings. We even talk when we're not having meetings, but during our meeting this week, when we were discussing what the topic was going to be, it actually started off with a conversation that Nikki Unbossed brought up. And we all started talking about episodes in our lives back in the day, some of us still present, some of us in and out, where we get comfortable with being where we are. We get comfortable with being where we are. And not only do we get comfortable with being where we are, we get comfortable with people being where we are. We accept, like, people are used to seeing us in a certain light, in a certain space. People are used to saying, oh, I know for me personally, oh, Nikki will do that. Or they're used to seeing you and you're like, that's not what I do anymore. Or you might say, well, let me just stay here because that's what they're used to, And we talked about how this can be in your friendships and with your family, with your relationships with people at work. And so we came up with the topic today, comfort and acceptance, the enemy to personal growth. Comfort and acceptance, the enemy to personal growth. And some of the questions that I threw out in the email this week was, do you ever find yourself staying in roles, relationships, and jobs far too long? Do we stay in these roles because that's what we have accepted how people see us? Do we get comfortable and instead of evolving and growing, we stay the same? So today we're going to evaluate, unpack, and we're going to chat about it. And I want to kick us off. We all know Red Table Talk. We know Red Table Talk with Jada and Grammy. And Gammy, that's it, Gammy and Willow. Well, Niecy Nash, the ladies had shared with me and I watched it. Niecy Nash was on Red Table Talk. And those of you guys that don't know Niecy Nash, she's a comedian, she's an actress, she's a television host, wonderful spirit. Niecy Nash has dated men, been married all of her life, and she stunned everybody when she found the love of her life. And I want to play a couple clips from the Red Table Talk. Let me see if I can pull it up for everyone. That's all set. Hold on. I want to share my screen with you guys.
Good. I'm so glad. This was so good.
And here we go. Can you guys see this? You guys see her?
Yes.
All right. I'm going to take it to where I got a couple spots that I want us to go with.
Okay.
And here we go. See if I get it right here. Here we go.
Come in, Niecy. So let's dive in.
Let's do it. I'm at the table.
Let's start with, you really surprised everybody.
Absolutely.
When did you know that you were going to make this change in your life?
I met the most beautiful soul I had ever met in my entire life.
Right.
And after spending time together, I was like, oh, this fit me like an old pair of jeans I done had in the closet my whole life.
Yeah.
You know that one pair of jeans, no matter how much weight you gain.
Yes.
And it was something that said, I don't want to be away from this energy.
Yeah.
Right. Did you have any concern about how it would be received by the world?
There was a time. There was a time in life where I literally was that woman, where I believed and lived my life such that you have to put other people's feelings, thoughts, needs, and wants before your own.
That's right.
And sometimes I feel like I was socialized into this Black woman's martyr club.
Yeah.
And it is not until I got a little more seasoned when I realized something is wrong with this picture.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not gonna tell you there is not concern there.
Right.
But regardless of what side of the line you on, it's not gonna change what I'm gonna do.
That's right.
Now, I want to keep going. I want to go to another part that's going to tap into what we're talking about today. Here we go.
But it was the first time in my life I had ever felt fully seen.
Ooh, I understand that.
And it changed me. And the other thing that I think gets harder for people is when you don't fit in the box we put you in.
Yes.
We thought you were this.
Don't change up on me.
You know what? And what I say to that is, I am everything you thought I was. I just laid my head somewhere else.
Yeah.
And I can still act. I can host. I can do the things. You know what I mean?
I'm everything you thought I was and more.
Right.
Huh.
Yeah.
LGBTQ plus Niecy.
There you go.
And I have one more that I want us to, ladies, I hope y'all taking notes because I want
multiple times.
I want us to dive all into this. And there's one more clip I want to show. See if I get it right on the button. There we go.
People think that this little Thundercat just came in here and picked me up and turned me every which way but loose. I gave myself permission to feel what I felt in the moment.
That's right.
And to be unapologetic about it.
Yeah.
But technically, it didn't start as a date.
No, it didn't.
No, we were just friends.
Right.
She was living in New Jersey at the time.
And that's it. That is Niecy Nash really tapping into what we're talking about today, really tapping into how people saw her one way. And I love that how she decided, I'm still who I am, and I'm not going to stay in this box to where you guys want me to be, because I want to be free. I want to be seen and I want to be happy. Let's dive into it. Let's unpack it. Let's evaluate it. Let's talk.
All right.
I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. I think I used to be a people pleaser. And I used to easily allow myself to stay in the roles that people expected of me. And it's funny, right? Because like for me, I think I had the same role everywhere. It was like, Lachelle can plan that. Lachelle can fix that. Lachelle can lead that. What does Lachelle want to do? Right. And so that becomes very exhausting. But I had that role in my family. I had that role with my friends. I typically had that role wherever I worked, even if I wasn't in like a leading role, right? I wasn't like the boss. Even the boss would be like, oh, let's ask Lachelle. And so I completely feel what Niecy Nash is saying, because I remember a time when it was like, I would do things with this like deep sigh attached to it, right? But it was because I didn't want to do it, but I was expected. Like people, that was the role people saw me in, and I just lived there. And it was not a comfortable place to be. But I think that especially for women, and right, Niecy Nash said the Black woman martyr, right? I do feel in our culture that Black women are seen the way they were seen in slavery, right? To go in the field and make the food and nurse the babies and be everything to everybody. And I think that trickled down for hundreds of years, and we've put it on ourselves. And so for me, I remember when I started not allowing myself to play the role that people had become accustomed to me playing. And people would say things to me like, girl, you crazy. She's so crazy. And I'm like, I'm not crazy, right? I'm just being who I feel like being right now. And even though that's not someone you recognize, it doesn't mean it's not me, which is exactly what Niecy said. I watched that Red Table Talk like 3 or 4 times, because while I'm not a +1 in the LGBTQ community, I completely related as a woman to like how people respond to you when you act on what your gut wants you to do, especially how they respond to women. Men are expected to come up with something new all the time and be something different all the time. Women are expected to stay where it's most comfortable for everybody else to have you.
Mm-hmm.
And
I think that comes from that. I think the roles starts getting defined really early. I was listening to you, and I was trying to pull out when did I first see when was I categorized in a certain way, right? And this came to mind. I lived with my parents in New York, and then I would spend the summers in Michigan where my grandparents were and all my cousins. So my mother was us when I was growing up. She, moved to New York to build her career, but her whole family, everybody that I'm related to on my mother's side, is in Michigan, right, in a small town. And I remember at one point, it was just, all of the ripping and running and childcare, whatever. My grandmother was like, leave her here, let her go to school here. And I remember for the year. And I remember my 2 best friends at the time were both named Crystal. So the 3 of us named Crystal in this small town with, and we went to school together and all the stuff. And I still love them both very much. One of them is one my besties, right? And so I was the tall one. The other was the short one. The other one was the skinny one. And it's like, which Crystal are you talking about? The tall one or the big one? And I was big. I was always a big girl, right? So I was the big one, short one, skinny one. So it's like, wow, you don't realize that you automatically, start to get categorized. Nikki, you probably, she's the athlete. She runs track, or, just they start doing that, right? And then you start to embody those things. I'm the big one. Oh yeah, I'm the big one. I can't wear that because I'm the big one. Even outside of being compared to these crystals, right? And then I remember being the one, things start happening. I had really bad acne for most of my, all my teens, all my 20s, whatever. And I remember being like, oh yeah, the one with the bumps on her face, like that. And then it's like, oh no, Crystal, she's the one that sings. oh, you sing, you don't dance, right? And I always was a kid that did a lot of different things, and start to feel like, you know, can I do those things or should I just stay over here? So I think it starts really early.
Yeah.
And like I told you, my son is very slim. Oh, skinny Malachi, you know, when we were thinking about naming him, I said to my husband, who's named Michael, I was like, you know, should he be a junior? He's like, absolutely not. He's like, I said, why? He said, because when your name is Mike, there's 1,000 Mikes. So, you know, fat Mike, skinny Mike, tall Mike, you know, light skin Mike, dark skin Mike, you know, it's endless, right? So I think that, you know, all of a sudden you start feeling like I am wherever people put me. Now going to your point, which I think is really a really good point, Lachelle, like, you know, wherever you were just being you, and no matter what that you was, people started being like, she's the one that will ... Right? And if somebody is different from that, well, you can't do that because she does that. Well, how come you don't give her a chance to learn how to be that? What if I'm a woman and I'm not a nurturer?
Right.
You know, what if I'm a woman and I don't clean my house every Saturday? Like I told you, my mother cleaned her house on Friday night.
Right.
And that's a rebel move because you're supposed to clean your house on Saturday.
Right. What?
So I think it was interesting to unpack kind of like when this stuff starts happening and how we kind of fall into these roles without realizing it. You have to, wash, you got to do your laundry on Saturday mornings.
Right.
Why?
Or sort your laundry, which I don't do.
Me either.
I don't.
You're on mute, Edmee.
You're muted.
I said I sort my laundry whenever I can and I feel like.
Amen. Yeah. Yeah. But you know what? I think it's interesting. Nick, are you there, Nick? I think it's very interesting that, I raised boys. I do not see this kind of pattern assigned to males as much. I do not see it, right? I think it happens when when they do things that are deemed feminine, right? Like a man who's a nurturer. But in terms of shifting, like I used to be the life of the party. Now I'm the person who I want to be at home and read a book or just watch a movie or take up cooking or something in my house. I don't see this, and I might be wrong because I'm not a man, but I don't see such a big shift. Like people are not like, well, why are you not, you know what I mean? Why are you not doing that no more? Oh, but I thought you used to, what's wrong with you? I don't see that with men as much as I do with women. I feel like there's extra pressure to stay in the roles that make other people comfortable and benefit other people.
You just said something and it's so funny. You said this and I literally wrote down women's role, stability, expectation. And then boom, you said those words. So I think that as you were saying, Crystal, I think as women, society want us to be the stable one. As mom, they want us to fit in the box and stay in that box because we're the expected one to stay on track and to, hold the house, lead the path, to just basically, we're the stable one. So when you have kids and you start changing your life around, it's like, oh my gosh, they got to adjust to that and blah, 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 blah. So it's like almost like we're brought up to be like, pick a line and stay in your line. Because if you deviate from your line, you shift everything around.
And everybody else's stuff will fall apart, right?
Yes.
And so what does that do? That's really the impetus of how this show started. Because if I choose me, the whole world's gonna end. Everything's. What are we gonna do? I think you might fly. You might fly. You might learn how to fly.
Yeah. And so I want to share. I want to share something. I reconnected this week with a really, really old friend of mine, Monique Dash. I don't know if you're on the show, Monique. What's up? I've met Monique when I was 23, 24, being in New York 2 years on my own. And I had bought a membership at Equinox. I was at the time, there was like one Equinox in the city, 76th Street in Amsterdam. Nikki. I don't know if you remember those days. And so I met Monique, and I'm like, I love teaching, blah, 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 blah. And before you know, Monique threw me into a teaching job. I don't even have more than 5 words in my vocabulary in English, but I knew I could do it. At Equinox, when everybody's trying to get a job there, and she's like, why don't you teach a dance class? So before you know, she gave me my head start. So I spoke to her this week. She said something very interesting that kind of like made me think about everything we're talking about. She was like, you know, one thing about you, Edmee, that I appreciate and I like admire, she's like, you always fall back on your feet, and no matter what, you're like a cat. And that took me back to something that my dad told me when I was 18. My father, I was like one time, so little story, my brother, which is 2 years older than me, we end up in the same classrooms, long story, getting together the baccalaureate, which is basically your final test before you go to college in Guadeloupe. So I got my baccalaureate before my brother. And here I am coming home saying, hey, Dad, I graduated. I got it. Okay, granted, I just passed because I was in the middle of the really, really big dance show. So I was not studying. And I was more studying my dance show than my exam. Bottom line, I passed. Got it. So I come home, my dad was like, oh, but your brother failed. And I'm like, really? That's what I'm going to get as an answer. And then he says to me, I know I don't got to worry about you. You always got to fall on your feet. And then this week, my old friend Monique kind of said the same thing. She's like, you always fall on your feet. So my point to that is that you have the core of you, but what you do, that's what people get, they get confused. That was the core of me that I always kept. I know I'm always going to fall on my feet. And I think that also the power of words, when people put that and then store that in my head, like no matter what I do, I'm going to fall on my feet, no matter what situation I'm in. Now, what I'm going to decide to do and how I'm going to do it and how I'm going to package it, right? Throw it off. And you can package it, like Nisi said, I can package it however the fuck I want to package it.
Amen.
So what if I decide to go and do this job tomorrow? So what if I decide to go and change my hair tomorrow? So what if I decide to change my style tomorrow? Yep. It doesn't change who I am. It just changed the way you're going to see me.
And what you're going to get from me.
And if you can dig a little deeper, you will see that the same person is there. I'm just taking a different route.
Exactly.
But I think
to do it.
You do. And then I think what gets tricky, which is what I was thinking about, is, and I think you mentioned this, Nikki, too, is when you kind of just stay in the role. Well, maybe I shouldn't go for that job because I'm the efficient one. I'm not the smart one. Like you start to really believe these things. And I'm not saying, some people, it was very bold of Nisi to choose love over, because that's what she did, which is what we do as humans. But instead of saying, well, my career might suffer, my thinking about maybe other actors and actresses that were gay and never came out because they didn't want to ruin their careers. Like she chose love, and I think that much like a lot of other people that choose that, it's considered courageous and brave, but it really is. They become even more because it's just like, I love this person. Yes. And because I love this person, I'm more of who I'm everything I was and even more. Even more. That's
what Nikki Unbossed said last week about showing up.
She did.
Give me space so I can give you more of me.
And what happens, I think, in this instance too, but if I don't choose the courage, and we've talked about courage a lot on this show, if I'm fearful of choosing love or choosing my shift in my life, if I'm nervous about that, then I'm relegated to this comfort place where I'm not really choosing more.
And you're not comfortable.
And you're not comfortable. And then it's like, maybe when this is what happens, or just speaking to the mom, maybe when my kids get older, then I'll maybe when I retire.
Yes.
And that's real. That's real, because you're like, I don't really want to, dig all in my business, but it's just like, how many people say, well, I just got a few more years, and then what?
So much.
I think for me, the thing that really stuck out with me was, do we stay in these roles because that's what we have accepted, how people see us? We all know that I am working on my people pleasing stuff. Been a people pleaser almost my entire life. And I would love to say, oh, I'm not a people pleaser anymore. No, I still like to do X, Y, and Z, except now I get to do it on my terms and when I want to do it. And but what happened was, unfortunately, it took Billy's accident for me to like go, wait a minute. Because for years, my mother's on here, I was always known as the cute, talented, nice girl, cute, talented, smart, nice girl, oh, Nikki will do it. Oh, Nikki will do it. Oh, Nikki will do it. Or, or sometimes, I love my girlfriends, but sometimes when something would happen, sometimes frustrations will be taken out on me, and it ain't me they mad at. But I would take it. I would take it for years. And I remember the first time I spoke up. I remember the first time I spoke up. I was in graduate school. First time I spoke up, I was very much like, oh, this is not going to happen. We're not going to talk to me like this anymore. And I think people thought they could, because Nikki I was that girl that would go, it's okay. And it wouldn't even be me. And just something clicked. And I was like, I'm not going to do this anymore. When I started speaking up, people didn't know how to handle it. And I felt very confident. I kept going. But then something. Go ahead, Shelly.
For you, Nikki, I have a question for you. When Billy's accident happened, do you think, because you lived this and you this was your experience, do you think that people accepted that you were not as available to them because there was a reason outside of you just deciding, I'm just not that available anymore, I'm using my time and my energy in other ways, right? Do you feel like the shift happened because people in their minds were like, oh, we should let her have this time, like we shouldn't call on her, right? It wasn't because Nikki herself decided. It was like, oh, now we outside people, we have a reason to accept that she can't show up for us as much as we are accustomed to her doing.
You know what, Shelly? So when you said this, I think it was a combination of both. I think that's how it was at first. But when Billy had his accident, I got to pee. And the way I showed up and who I was being, I was a badass, responsible woman, not just taking care of her man, taking care of business. And I was very blessed that I had a phenomenal mom and a phenomenal support system around me to give me that boost. Edmee was there, and it was the first time in my life, and it's sad that it was his accident, that when I stepped back at night, I was a boss and I was handling things. So it was also, I think it was my posturing that was different. When people were coming with me with some nonsense, it was almost like, my friends call it the Miss Pat. I did the, the like, excuse me, I don't have time. And I think it was a combination of both. I think I showed up differently. I was being different. And I realized that I don't have time for this. But then guess what, y'all? The people pleaser in me went back to being What you need? What you need? And it wasn't until quarantine and we started this show that I started to take a moment and say, yeah, I'm still cute, Nikki, and I'm still nice, Nikki, and I'm still talented, Nikki. But what we not gonna do is this.
Come on now.
But I have another thing. But what we not gonna do is this was also me saying that to myself. What we're not gonna do is stay in this role and accept things anymore, you know? And I realized, Michelle, Crystal, Edmee, we talk about this. The power of saying no. The power of saying no. The power of when someone's like, oh, I didn't think you would do that. Yes, I do. And just not saying a lot. Just it's really about just I'm just being I'm in the space of being right now. And when you, what do they say? Be, do, have. When you're being different, you do different and you have different and you show up different. And I also got to a point too, it's all around doing social justice. Remember when I talked about how everyone's used to Nikki being GP and being very politically correct. And being politically correct, I wouldn't necessarily say what I had to say. And then when I started speaking out, there were people that were like, oh, I didn't think she would say that, whatever. But it was like, oh, well, this is who I am now. And this is the posture. So what you're not going to do is this, you know? But it, like I said, double sword is what you're not going to do is this to outside people. But also, Nikki Kimbrough, what you're not going to do is stay in this box. What you're not going to do is accept what people are used to you doing. What you're not going to do is be comfortable, because if you stay in those spaces, in the words of Niecy Nash, I want to be seen. I want to feel free. I finally feel like I am being seen for who I am. And if you like it, great. If you don't, okay. And I used to be that girl that if you didn't like it, oh my God, let me do this. And as a result of this, I now feel free. You feel me?
I feel you all the way. It's so beautiful, Nick, because, you know, I'm thinking as you're talking, I'm thinking of friends and people. I went to an all-girls high school. I'm thinking of women that I've known through the years of my life. And before ghosting was a word, I am realizing that there were women that I've known who ghosted everybody. But I'm realizing now they did it because they were changing, but they didn't know how to change in front of people who expected them to show up a certain way. And they like went away, like disconnected themselves. And thanks to the magic of social media, years later, I've seen some of them and they're just totally different than they were. But it's like they hid themselves and went to an environment where no one really knew the expectations of them to show up as who they were evolving as. And I'm just hoping and praying that we're doing a whole lot less of that now. You know what I'm saying? Like, I hope that women are feeling and behaving in the way that you described that you started doing at the beginning of this pandemic. Like, it doesn't feel comfortable because we're so used to living into these roles and being in these boxes. But disappearing to be someone different is also another form of like a box. And I'm realizing how many women I've seen do that. And it's just because you're just not comfortable disappointing others to satisfy yourself.
That's really powerful.
It is powerful, because how many times, I mean, keep it 100. How many times, Crystal, have I called you in the past growing up, as long as you've known me as a younger version of myself, playing small because I didn't want to disappoint someone, playing small because they're used to me being here. And then it's just, it's it's such a freeing feeling in the world. What we said, the world does not fall apart. And if those people that have you in those boxes, if they're uncomfortable, that's on them. Go find a new friend.
But let's come for the people that are like, well, I don't do that. I don't really believe. I think everybody kind of does that in a way, right? Like it might not be from a people pleasing kind of way, but there's certain this is the one that I love / don't love. Well, this is just the way I am. That's a box, right? Because I think it does come back to what Nikki Unbossed was saying. I need to go back and listen to that show, but she dropped some jewels on that one. But it was just like, it is about when you say you evolve it, it is about evolution, right? And then you're the more of, in spiritual conversations, they talk about wanting the more of God, right? The more, not just maybe what you learned in Sunday school, or maybe what you learned, like what you can't even imagine, wanting more. What if I want more for myself? Oh, chills. What if I want more for myself and I'm like, but I don't know what that is. And then, as she was describing, love came into her life in the form of a different person than she had experienced. And it was like her spirit knew that person all the time. Yeah. What if you take a class about something and that you're like, oh, this might be interesting. And it's the whole paradigm shift that you didn't even realize was waiting for you the whole time. If it's the more of Crystal, the more of Nikki, the more of Edmee, the more of Lachelle, it is not easy, but I should be able to say the people who are with me and for me love that more because they're getting more too. And the people who are like, you ain't really as available as you used to be, then you don't want the more. You want less, and I'm not less anymore. Right? So I'm thinking like it's kind of dope to be more.
It is. And you know why?
Go ahead.
You know how you said it's not easy? You know what hit me when you said that? It's not easy because when we start going for the more, we're doing it from the boxed up version of ourselves, right? Mm-hmm. The more we come out of the box, right? The more we start to listen to that and be those things that we want to be. And we become the more of Crystal, right? The more of Nikki, the more of Edmee. The easier it is because when you operate from the biggest version of yourself that you can access, everything is easy, right? But when we first start to try to make that shift, it's like we're doing it from like we got a straitjacket on, right? Mm-hmm. But the more we come out of that, then we're doing it. We got our arms are free, our hands are free, our mouth is free, and so it's easier. The beginning, it isn't easy, but that doesn't mean we shouldn't do it, because the more you do it, the easier it'll become, because you're living in the more of you. You are the more of you.
Living in the more of you. You are living in the more of you.
Wait. Please type that down. Let me say this. So Lachelle,
yes,
LL Pouchelle came to my house. I shared this story once before, but she came she showed up, and she showed up just when I needed to see her, and we were talking, and she was saying we were talking about something that I was currently doing that I really didn't want to do, but it was kind of like a nice to have, but it wasn't something that I was doing from an authentic place, right? And so she's like, "Well, why are you doing that?" And it was so just an involvement in a organization that was I didn't really want to do it, right? And so she goes, you don't do, like, she was looking at me like, why are you doing that? That's not something that you want to do. And she said to me, she crossed her legs and she had on something beautiful and yellow, and she's like, I don't do anything I don't want to do. And I was like, What that feel like?
Feels like more, honey. It feels like more.
But I will never forget you saying that. And then I asked her, where did you get that from? Right? And she said, my father. She goes, he never did anything. He if he didn't want to do it, he just said no. And it was such a brave thing. And I'm not saying that I live a life that is, imprisoned by things that I don't want to do. I'm not saying that at all. I have a wonderful life with many, many choices that I believe I really, I can do, I really do. I would describe myself as doing things that I love. I really do. And then when the things appear that I don't really want to do, and I say yes, and I'm like, why did you do that? But, well, it's only for 6 months. Oh, it's only for an evening, whatever. And Shelly, is so funny because I do not ever forget you saying that. And every time I say yes, when I really want to say no, I'm like, when will you get to the point, Nikki, Edmee, Michelle, you already got it, Crystal, where you say, in that moment, last week's show, that guttural moment that tells you that this is not something you want to do, and you just say no with a period, not with an explanation that tells you all the reasons why you can't, no. If the person says why, I don't want to.
I just, but you know what though? That's a great question, because does it just creep out? Does it just happen? Because I find myself lately saying no. And when I say no, I find the people not asking why. Because I just say no.
But you give them. But think about what you was giving them before, and they accepted that too. And you were giving them what you thought they expected.
Mm-hmm.
Expected, yeah.
Wearing you out.
Yeah. And you I have a question. Like Crystal, you said, I love when you said Michelle crossed her legs and something beautiful and yellow, and say, basically she does what she wants to do. She doesn't do what she does not want to do. But I love to hear that, Shelly. And for me, and it's making me a little emotional, I love to hear when you said you used to be a people pleaser, because for us people pleasers out there, that it lets you know, if Shelly did
over here, that's right.
Yell across my legs and say,
and so
I do what I want to do.
I do what I want to do.
Yeah.
I'm going to say this. I want you to know there was no moment on the mountaintop. I didn't have a near-death experience. I didn't end up in some horrible place because I said yes to something that I wanted to say no to. I literally just started to slowly but surely listen to what I wanted. And then I started practicing saying no. First with the things that were easy to say no to, right? Like people who were younger than me, right? Or someone who saw me as like the leader in a position. The harder things were like people who I loved, right? Or people who expected things from me, like an employer or a mate. Those were harder. But when I just literally started practicing, and let me tell you, I started it with knots in my stomach, right? I would say no, and I'd have all of these like explanations lined up, multiple explanations, because I wanted to come up with something that the person would accept for my no. And then I started to experience what you experienced, Nikki, which was people weren't asking me why often. They were just like, okay. And then I started dropping the explanations, and I would start even formulating explanations. I would just be like, okay, I'm going to say no to that. And I wouldn't have an explanation or an excuse. And then I just kept doing it in different places. Simple things like someone wanting to put collard greens on my plate, and I don't want collard greens. No, I don't want any. Oh, no, but you should, because they're really good. And I made them with these ham hocks, and it's my grandmama recipe. No, please. Right? And to the big things like, I let's stay married. No, this is not for me anymore, right? Really, really big. But thank God I had been practicing my no's for a number of years by the time that kind of thing came to me. And so, and so that's what I'm going to say, Nick. It's like, I was a big time people pleaser. I thought my role in life was to make people happy. And what I learned as I got to these no's, and I just kept dropping them here and there where I felt safe, right? But everyone I dropped in my safety zone got me more access to me. And as I became more of me, my safety zone expanded. And I'm safe in the whole world. I can say no anywhere in the whole world, not just in my house, not just with my friends, not just like I expanded my safety zone. And what I will say is that it's worth the effort to do it, because when those big things come and your gut says no, but your mouth says yes, that's when you end up in a problem place, right? That's when you end up staying in a relationship too long, or a job too long, or a city too long. And that's when the city, the relationship, the job starts punching you in the throat, because it is trying to get rid of you. But you knew that all along. You knew when your time came.
You know what? I'm done with you.
I'm like,
I am done. She said, the city is done with you.
This city is done with me. And I'm leaving before it punches me and kicks me in the mouth, right? But that's all it is. It's like, there's no miracle. And some people have that. They have a near-death experience and all of a sudden it's shifted. But for most of us, thank God, we don't have that, right? We don't have to have trauma to become more of ourselves.
Right.
We don't have to have trauma.
So I'm encouraging all of us today. I think you said something that I wrote down, that you got very clear, because we talked about all this of what you want, and you started practicing. You started practicing. And I'm going to throw out to all of us and our viewers, when you have those people that you're close to, I think it's great to share these things and have them support you in practicing. Like, now I really understand. You've helped me. Like, you know how I get, and I'll be like this, and I get ready to explain. You like, Nikki, don't explain. Is it? That's it. And I'll be like, that's it. And we keep talking. And but I and that has helped me, like, as my sister, as my friend. You know, I get ready to say an explanation. Ironically, I was on the phone with a friend, and she had said no, and she started to say what it was, and I was like, I don't need that.
You've done that to me. You've done that to me.
I've done it to you. And I've done it to Edmee too. Edmee's like, Nikki, I was like, no, it's okay. Edmee, it's good. I got it. No. But I think it's important for us as sisters and as friends and as part of this sisterhood to continue to encourage each other to speak what you want, to encourage us to practice getting out of that space where we're comfortable, or where we have people just accepting where people think we are. I think it's important for us to, as women, to encourage each other, not just
remind each other.
And I think Crystal said it perfectly. Yeah, we're on the other side, but all of us do have a little bit of that in us. Like, well, why is she doing that? Well, we see her as this, and it's up for us to also check ourselves. Yeah, I don't know. I'm just talking.
No, I agree.
If we're gonna ask ourselves and our audience to really try to get the people closest to us to support us in getting to this place, I would say, listen, tell the people who are closest to you that when you start explaining your way out of a full statement, yes or no, that's a full-on statement, honey. It's a full statement. It's a full story. It doesn't need anything else. Have that person say to you, say less. Say less. And that's your cue to just stop and just be what your statement is. No, yes, not today. For sure. Those are full stories and full statements. And so let's encourage ourselves. And I really would love for the people who are with us today and who will watch this in replay, send us some messages about how it's going, right? Tell your friends and your family to tell you to say less when they find you over-explaining your choice in whatever the situation is.
Excellent.
I love that.
That's Michelle, that's exactly where I am. I have to retrain myself. I have to learn to say no. I learn to put boundaries around me. I have to apply a restraint on explanation. And it's really start with me training myself.
Yes. Yes. I'll back you up, girl.
Nikki will tell you. Nikki will be like, you don't need to give me all those explanations, blah, blah. I'll go on and on and on and on and on. Like, I feel bad to say no. Like, I need to justify why I said no.
Right. You are valid as you are.
Edmee go, Nikki, da-da-da-da-da. Like, okay. And she start going. I'll be like, this is good. You know, I'm like, so I'm encouraging. I'm helping.
And then she'll text me like, I'm proud of you. And I'm like, what she doesn't know is like, I just went against my own way. So I'm trying, but she's not understanding. Right. I'm saying no and trying to justify. I'm really trying to like go against my way because I want to change that way.
Right, right.
So it's not even me talking to her. It's really me talking to me.
Talking to you. That's what Crystal said. That's right.
Well, y'all, this once again, this has been an amazing conversation. We love our viewers. Thank you for tuning to us today. And I do want to end on this really quickly. When I was out in California, I didn't watch the news at all. It was a big deal. I didn't watch the news. I always watch the news. I turned the TV on once and had the Oscars on in the background. But when I got back, I saw this picture, and it's just such a woman empowerment picture. I just want to put it up. Vice President Harris and Speaker Pelosi bump elbows ahead of President Biden's first address to Congress. And you know what I thought about? It says, for the first time, 2 women will be seated behind the president making an address. And when I read that, I was like, I cannot wait to when it says, for the first time, there's a woman in front.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. That's right.
Amen.
And I just wanted to show that. I wanted to end on that. You guys want to say anything before we wrap up? Totally. Anything?
I just love this time. I swear it's like the highlight of my week. So I'm just happy to be with y'all and see y'all and hear y'all and grow with y'all. Every y'all who's here.
It is an honor and a privilege to be able to share like this regularly, like with y'all.
And everybody, our viewers, you know, we're coming up with May. We've gotten quite a few topics for the remainder of the summer. Send us your topics. We're also fleshing out some things for Mother's Day. Send us some stuff. Send us your topics. Tell us. Also send to us if you say, hey, I want to chat. I want to come on with y'all and chat one morning. Come on, send it to us. You guys have the email. You can send it to our Facebook page, and we will answer. We will answer.
Wait, before we end, I just need to tell you that my mom just texted me. She said, you know, all your life I've been a I don't give a kind of girl. And she was. She is. Yes. She really does own her more. So I think we own our more. We should own our. If you're not, I think we should. And thank you, Ma, because yes, she exemplified that. So own your more.
Own your more.
We're gonna end on that quote by Mae James. Own your more. Thank you, ladies. Thank you for tuning in to us. TJ John Quick, you can take us out. Bye, y'all. We will see you next Saturday. We love you. Same time, same place. Hey.
Who's first? Who's first? Ladies first. Ladies. Ladies. Who's first? Ladies.